cool or cold this morning, but it's beautiful right now. We thank you for coming out. At this time, I'd like to bring up from the Metuchen Edison Historical Society, Walter Stoschel, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. I'd like to call up from Edison High School, a senior at Edison High School who's helped us many times, married Kathleen Nielsen, to sing our national anthem. Thank you. Let's have another round of applause for Mary Nielsen. Thank you, Mary. Beautiful. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please have a seat. I'd like to introduce our mayor of Edison, Mr. Sam Joshi.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this very beautiful day. I see a lot of dear friends, colleagues, and a lot of people who care about our community and want to see it succeed. Today we're here because East Brunswick had collaborated with Edison Township just a little bit, and we are going to recognize the Battle of Bennet Island. I can't express enough, the more you learn about Edison Township, Middlesex County, East Brunswick, and our neighboring towns, we end up learning there's so much history right here in New Jersey, specifically central New Jersey, and right along the Raritan River. And it's something to be extremely proud of. You know, as our neighboring municipalities grow and develop, it's important to recognize where we came from. Those are our roots. And we played a huge part in not just the Revolutionary War, but so many small battles that were the reason why we ended up becoming the United States. We have to acknowledge that. I want to recognize some of the other elected officials that are here before I go into a background of why we're here. I want to begin with Council President John Pointer, Councilwoman Joyce Freeman. We have our Board of Education member Jenny White present. Tom White from the Environmental Commission. If I missed anyone, I sincerely apologize. So in the early morning hours of February 18th, 1777, Colonel John Nielsen of the 2nd Regiment, Middlesex County Militia, launched a well-planned surprise attack on the British military outpost of Bennet Island, New Jersey. The main mission was to disarm the new strategic post and capture Richard Stockton, the infamous local guide to Lieutenant Colonel William Harcourt, who had just recently on December 13, 1776, had played a key role in the capture of General Charles Lee, second in command to the American forces under General George Washington. The story of the surprise attack on this strategic site where we are gathered here today, and the significance of the capture of Loyalist Major Richard Stockton, is an intriguing, though often forgotten, tale of revolutionary history. But today is about remembrance. Every historical marker highlights a specific building, person, event, or a period important to our municipality's history and increases awareness and understanding of the rich heritage that helps make Edison the special community that it is today. I'm honored to join with Mayor Brad Cohen, a dear friend, in commemorating this historically significant local battle. It's a good way when you look around and see how many people have come together from this community and from outside of it to recognize our shared local history. This is what keeps our town's history alive, and I couldn't be more proud to mark this important piece of history with you all today. I'd like to call up Mayor Brad Cohen from East Brunswick.
Thanks, Sam. I do want to first start by thanking Sam and the Council of Edison and all of the residents here that have allowed us to utilize this site to commemorate this part of history that most people hadn't known about and was really just something uncovered very, very recently. Before I get started, I'd like to also introduce the key people that play a part in East Brunswick. Besides myself, I have our council president, Kevin McAvoy, who actually grew up here in Edison, correct? I have my business administrator, Joseph Crisculo, in the back. And our economic development officer, Robert Zuckerman. I know many of you know him. And I'd just like our members of the Historical Society to stand up and take credit for actually uncovering and bringing this to fruition today. I know they're all standing here, so please stand up and take a bow for your part in bringing this together. I'm not going to review the history. You're going to have people speaking here today about that, and Sam did a good job explaining why we're here. But I do think that it really tells an American tale. And what is the American tale? And that is how, against all odds, sometimes a small group of people can actually end up being victorious over what would be overwhelming odds against it. And that's the story of America. It plays itself out in our movies and in our literature. It's just an old story that never gets old. And Bennet's Island is exactly that, how a band of American fighters overtook the British Army that had itself walled here at Bennett's Island and was able to turn the tides of the American Revolution in a series of small battles, of which this is just one, but ultimately turned the tide for Americans. And I think it's something to be said as we sit here today. Clearly, that took place in February. They didn't enjoy the beautiful weather that we have today, but that our ancestors somewhere along the line are smiling, knowing that sitting out from Bennett's Island, they have a view of this massive American flag and businesses and an American culture that has grown up around it and is flourishing and is doing well. Standing out right at the top of that factory, a massive American flag. So this is a story that's told over and over again and just doesn't get old. And so I want to thank Sam each of you for being here today. I hope that we can get residents to come out and read the inscription that's on the marker that we have here. I hope that more East Brunswick residents can come out and get another actually really nice view of East Brunswick that most don't really get. And I'm going to let in the stage for those who are able to give you a little bit more about the history and exactly why we're here today. But thank you. Appreciate all the help and support from Edison.
Thank you, Mayor. It was about a year ago when Ann and Manny Alvarez came to Town Hall to talk about this idea. I had never met Ann or Manny before, and we sat down in my office and we talked about this dedication, about putting a marker here at the boat basin and a celebration to memorialize that event. And when we were talking, we had such a nice conversation, and I think Ann and Manny will agree, we pictured it just like this. We said it'll be a beautiful spring day. We'll have folks out and we'll be able to do this great thing. And it all came exactly as we pictured it. So thank you. At this time, I'd like to bring up Manny Alvarez to tell us about the Battle of Bennett's Island.
Good afternoon, everyone. Across the river from this location between what are now called the townships of East Brunswick and Edison, there was an island. The island, long since changed by the important Middlesex County landfill and virtually forgotten, went by several names including Bennett's Island. In 1972, while researching a colonial-era house located near Bennett's Island, Ann Alvarez of the East Brunswick Historical Society came upon information about a Revolutionary War battle that had occurred on the island. Further research convinced Ann that the forgotten battle, though small, had significance, deserved more attention, and that local people should know about it. The rediscovery of the battle, so to speak, led Ann to lecture about it to various groups, including school children, especially during the bicentennial in 1976. She even wrote a poem and, along with others, unsuccessfully tried to have a marker placed somewhere to commemorate the battle. But the island was now mostly, if not totally, obliterated, and there was no practical place for a marker. But the hope remained that someday, with the closing of the landfill and conversion of the area to recreation or other uses, a marker would eventually be located near the site. The idea of a marker now languished for many years until last year when a few events occurred that renewed interest. First, a number of people became aware of a published article about the battle that had been written by a Washington, D.C. attorney named Christian McBurney. Second, one of the people who was long interested in the battle, Timothy Lynch, pointed out to us that the Edison Boat Basin provides a nice view of what remains of the island. And third, cooperative political leaders in the townships of East Brunswick and Edison, who have an appreciation of history, provided support for a marker, namely East Brunswick's Mayor Brad Cohn, Edison's Mayor Sam Joshi, and Edison Chief of Staff Bob Deal. These events sparked new enthusiasm and cooperation by many parties, including local historical societies, that led to today's dedication. So what about this battle? From the beginning of the war for independence in 1775 to the last months of 17, things had not gone well for the Patriots. Battle after battle had been lost, supplies were critically low, and the size of the Continental Army was dwindling. Morale was also very low, as was the expectation of victory. But things were about to change. On December 26, 1776, Washington successfully and surprisingly defeated enemy forces at Trenton in a planned attack. On December 26, 1776, Washington successfully and a week later, on January 3, 1777, in an unplanned battle, the Continental Army encountered and prevailed over British forces at Princeton. These battles boosted both morale and expectations for ultimate victory. Although encouraged by his generals to continue to attack into New Brunswick, which was the main supply depot and communications center for the British in the area, Washington felt his troops needed rest and relief from the winter weather. Moreover, he needed to rebuild his army prior to the resumption of campaigns in the spring. So he moved his forces to Morristown, which was strategically located and afforded protection from attack by the British. However, Washington had earlier issued orders to his officers, including Colonel John Nielsen, to reorganize local militia for the purpose of continuously fighting and harassing the British. Colonel Nielsen was born and raised in New Brunswick and was a patriot who publicly read the Declaration of Independence on Albany Street on July 9, 1776, just 5 days after its adoption. Incidentally, there is now a statue of Nielsen in New Brunswick. In February 1777, the British controlled the entire New Brunswick area, including Bennet's Island, on which they had set up an outpost under the command of Major Richard Stockton of the New Jersey Loyalist Volunteers, Americans who remained loyal to the King of England. The outpost provided ideal surveillance of the Raton River and offered an excellent position for artillery to protect New Brunswick from a Patriot attack by way of the river. In addition, British control of the island prevented the Patriots from placing their own artillery on a high spot overseeing the Raton River and thereby impeding supply ships from reaching New Brunswick. This was a site of military importance that appealed to Colonel Nielsen. Furthermore, the Patriots had recently lost many New Jersey men to British raids and were incensed. So on a cold night on February 18, 1777, Colonel Nielsen led 150 New Jersey militiamen and 50 Pennsylvania riflemen in a pre-dawn attack on the outpost, not by way of the river, but by way of land. 1 American was killed, while the enemy lost 4 killed, 1 wounded, and 60 captured. The Patriots now temporarily used the island to harass the enemy by using their artillery to sink several vessels coming up the Raton River. The battle was another morale booster for the Patriots and drew praise from General Washington in his report to Congress on February 20th, 1777, 2 days after the battle. Washington noted the good behavior and discipline of the militia despite their anger. In addition, Washington praised the battle in his communications to his senior officers. In closing, please note that the spelling of the name Bennet on the plaque with 1 T is correct. It's not an error. While Bennet with 2 T's is a perfectly fine English name, Bennet with 1 T is another form of this name, and it was a spelling used by Adrian Bennet, perhaps because he was of Dutch, not English extraction. So, thanks very much.
Thank you, Mandy. At this time, I'd like to bring up Timothy J. Lynch, the founder of the site for the marker.
There we go.
Thank you everyone for being here for the unveiling of the marker of the Battle of Bennet Island. I've been interested in American Revolutionary history since I was in high school, but started researching the location of Bennet Island in 2016. Of course, Anne was doing that before me, but this was when I saw the battle listed on the State of New Jersey website and knew nothing about it. Early on, I came across a map of Princeton that Princeton University had that showed the location of the island. I then met with late historian and artist Harvey Hildebrand through an online chat. Harvey told me that to contact his distant cousin, Chris Hay, who was already working with author Christian McBurney on the battle. After talking to Chris, I realized then I needed actual notes with citations, not my little scribbles I was doing for myself personally. From there, I helped trace Colonel Nielsen's route, or Nelson's route, depending on the family's pronunciation, from Cranberry to the battle site. The journey started at Williamson's Tavern in South Brunswick, which we believe was originally built in the area of the Old Clare's Market, where the new Wawa's is out there. The next day, they marched to South River, probably stopping at Old Ogden's, because there was an Ogden that took place in the battle, located on Ferry Street in South River. The final leg that took them to Bennet's Island. Through all my research, I got to pursue Nielsen's papers at Rutgers University Library, meet his family members, and the unveiling of his statue. I'd like to also thank Ann and Manny Alvarez, who led this project to fruition and got it accomplished, and the Bennet's Island research team that helped us all investigate this. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Timothy. We have a lot of different towns, or a few different towns here. We don't want to forget South River. From the South River Historical Society, Sarah Gulpin.
South River has always thought that the Revolutionary War itself bypassed us, but thanks to all the research done by Edison and East Brunswick, we now know that we indeed did play a part in the Revolutionary War. There was an Ogden who was a private in the militia, and it was his farm and her parents' farm and tavern that were there, and it's believed that they spent the night there before moving on to complete the journey the next day to Bennet's Island. So once again, thank you to East Brunswick and Edison for all their hard research on helping us find this lost piece of our history. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to bring up Diane Oliver from the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Thank you. Thank you so much. On behalf of the 2,700 plus members of the Daughters of the American Revolution here in New Jersey, I bring greetings. Our society is based on 3 prongs: historic preservation, education, and patriotic endeavors. And today, this event hits all 3 prongs of our theme. So with that, I am thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to represent our organization, and more importantly, as we get ready to celebrate our big 250th celebration in just a few short years, it's these events that lead us to the big event on the 4th of July 2026. And I am so proud and honored to be here with you all today. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Also from the Daughters of the American Revolution, Karen Stover.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the Jersey Blue chapter from New Brunswick, New Jersey, curators of Bucklew Mansion, we would like to welcome you to visit us at Bucklew Mansion in New Brunswick. We have 6 members of our chapter who are direct descendants of Colonel John Nielsen, and they are sorry they could not be here today. They were at the statue dedication since they helped arrange for lots of descendants to come. We will be open at Bucklew Mansion. You can see the sword and saber marks. You can see the gun marks on the floors and banisters of the historic house, which was occupied by the British during the time that we're talking about, that Colonel John Nielsen was attacking the British on Bennet's Island. Please come visit us. We are open on Sunday in Bucklew Park from 1 till 4 this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you have the daughters, you have to have the sons. We have from the Sons of the American Revolution, Robert Meyer.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think you can probably hear me without these microphones. I want to bring you greetings, first of all, from the state of New Jersey, the Sons of the American Revolution. We have 700 members, and this is what we're really all about. We're about preserving history and trying to bring it to life and bring it back and let people know that New Jersey had almost 700 battles. I don't know how many of you might realize that in this state. This is a very, very prominent state in the American Revolution. And we have so many sites, so we need people to come out. We need to continue to do that. We need to think like the men thought that night when they crossed this river, when minutes seemed like hours. We have a couple of years till the 250th, and we need to be ready for that. We need to show the rest of the states in this country what New Jersey has. And with that, I'd like to introduce a couple people that are with me today. I'd like to introduce my Color Guard Commander, Richard Surface. And I'd also like to introduce our rifleman, Colonel Beauregard. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this opportunity to speak with you all today, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. When Manny and Ann came to Town Hall about a year ago, one of the things that was most impressive in our discussion was Anne told me that in 1972 that she had written a poem about the island. And I said, that's fantastic, it's over 50 years ago. And Anne said to me, would you like to hear it? And I said, absolutely. And without any notes or anything, Anne recited it perfectly and beautifully. And I said, we have to do it again. So here today, folks, live and in person, Anne Alvarez.
I recited this poem to the school children of East Brunswick during the 1976 bicentennial. It was written to spur their interest in the Battle of Bennet's Island and to make them proud that America's fight for freedom against British rule was fought in their own hometown. Okay. Out on the river long ago, there stood an island clothed in snow. Upon its crown, a house was found, a house with a stockade around. Some 100 men there dared to stand on the side of England. Their cannon threatened any trips attempted by American ships. But while cannon watched the Raritan, an attack came from the land. 200 patriots came to fight. They marched from Cranberry through the night to capture those who would oppose our fight for liberty and people's rights. They crossed the bridge, leaped the stockade. A guard on duty saw the raid. A fight broke out. When smoke cleared round, 5 men were found lying on the ground, dead. Then to the house the patriots crept, surprised more loyalists as they slept. Who would suspect, the enemy said, that we'd be caught in sleep in bed? Then our men cried, get up, get dressed, prepare to march and face arrest. We're going to take the lot of you to jail in Philadelphia. But some who'd seen trouble in store fled to the cellar and locked the door. And no matter how the patriots tried, they could not reach those men inside. So they left them there. Nevertheless, duty was done. They captured prisoners and gun, marched through the woods in single file, off of the fort on Bennet's Isle. Now where this fort was is hard to tell. The island's hard to find as well. For time and progress took its toll upon the history of all. But someday a marker there you'll see to keep alive the memory that men fought here to make us free, here in East Brunswick, New Jersey, which is, and there it is, there's a marker.
Thank you, Anne. Great job, beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to, in a couple of minutes, go up the hill. Our marker is behind us. Our mayors will unveil the marker. But before we do that, we want to turn our attention again to Mr. Andrew DiNicola and the John P. Stevens Brass Ensemble for America the Beautiful. Thank you. And Andy told me that when we leave, as we leave, that the ensemble will be playing a few more songs for us. We are truly blessed today, ladies and gentlemen, You know, when you go to different sporting events or musical events, how much money you have to spend to see great talent. You didn't have to spend anything today. We're here on this beautiful afternoon. We heard that great poem, we're hearing this great music, and these speakers sharing so much about this great history. Folks, at this time, I'd like to thank a few people before we go up the hill. If we could have a round of applause for our fire department. Terrific job, thank you. We have our Department of Public Works for their setup, tirelessly cleaning and making sure this was ready for us. We have a hand for our Department of Public Works. Along with our Department of Water and Sewer. I see Bob Smith in the back. We have a hand for him and his men and women. Thank you. I also see Kathleen Carlucci here today, okay, a member of the Metuchen Edison Historical Society and really the head of our Thomas Edison Museum in Edison. Did I leave anyone out? I hope not. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Mark? Nunstead from the county, where are you? All right, thank you. And we have Rob Kentos from the Historical Society. Thank you for coming. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to ask our mayors to go up to the marker